Hello, everyone, and welcome on into PIEA State Championships. Marvel Rivals here on the scene. It's D'Lo in the booth, joined by Ari right by my side. Almighty Eye in the Sky, Caddyshack, keep the prod lights on. That Cam steady. Two amazing teams. Only one can be victor. Ari, how we feeling?
I'm just still not over the fact that that is your background right now.
Jarvis, clip that.
I mean, did you see the last series? For one of these
Holy.
two teams to get here, Gateway had to fight against McDowell, and they complete the reverse sweep. Absolute pandemonium, cinema. And here we are now in the grand finals. We have one title to give away to one of these two teams, Central Bucks South or Gateway. One of them is going to get it, and it's going to be settled via a best of 5 or first to 3, depending on your preference for Marvel Rivals.
That means it's a marathon, not a sprint. You have to make sure you keep a lot in the tank. You know, if you find yourself expending all that energy, you kind of put it all in on map 1, you will find yourselves running out of steam come the later end, especially if these series go down to 5, which we saw last time around. Bernard T'Challa is going to be that first map. What does that mean in terms of these comps?
Well, it is going to be domination like we typically see to start off these series, which means, again, can be telling of the agents and heroes that we are going to see throughout the rest of the game, the series, but also may not. A lot of these comfort picks are going to shine through here, and then the meta picks start to come in flying through during those longer maps. But if you're looking towards heroes, I think we saw in the last game, I wasn't watching too closely, but we did see that there was an Iron Fist in the mix. There was even an Angela at one point, and that was on the final map, which I believe was Bernard T'Challa. So keep your eyes out for a potential, let's say, out there pick. Not something that's unheard of, but something that's maybe not Ironstone meta.
And I always like when that gets brought into the equation, some wild cards being thrown in, because it can be about whether or not you're comfortable in the character. Comfort, I always think, is key, and comfort is king, especially in a high-pressure, high-stakes situation. You want chicken noodle soup, you want cornbread, you want collard greens, you want what feels good in your belly and on the keyboard as well. But as well as that, it can throw off the opponent. They're used to playing against a particular composition in this day and age. They're used to maybe a certain slate of picks. So throwing in something, a wrench into their plans that they're not quite expecting or not quite as familiar with playing up against, certainly can be a way to kind of throw them off kilter. That's what you want to do. Game 1, I think, is certainly, of course, it's the pace setter, right? It's what builds your...
And for these two teams, I believe this was a common theme before, where teams just like to hover the dino. I don't believe the dino is eligible for play, but I could be wrong. Maybe things have changed since last time, and it has been 2 weeks. But we'll have to do the math if we do see one of those players actually lock in the character. But CB South comes in as the favorite here. Obviously, the 1 seed. There was an upset via Gateway over McDowell last time, so you're thinking about those certain things. Blaze saying, "Hi, Mom," but now we're getting into the heroes, picks, and bans.
Pancakes. OP. Cheap, efficient, fills your belly, feels good. Band's coming out in here. Got the magic gone. Bucky gone. Invisible Woman gone. Phoenix burned away.
Oh, there's a save. What do you mean?
Oh, well, I'm bugging. Hold on, my bad. Sorry, that icon is small, all right? All right, Phoenix saved. Susan saved. And the Gambit. Not going to see his time to shine. Not going to be able to make a name for himself here today.
Not yet. That's one of my key points I'm going to make, because Gambit seems to be still relatively meta in the pro scene for like Rivals Ignite, things like that, but we're going to see these players whip out the Gambit at some point. One of these teams, not sure which one it was, ran it in the previous series that they had played, and so, of course, that could be a win condition potentially for some of these teams. The Magic ban coming out, by the way, is a target ban that is definitely onto one particular player to make sure that they can't feel comfortable going on throughout these games. It'll be the Vanguard Deadpool, that is saved out as that final one for Gateway, which is a bit interesting to me, honestly.
Punisher is going to receive the final ban on the side of Gateway. Leave one more left for the chopping block from CB South. And like you said, they are the ones who kind of had that advantage stepping up. Sometimes that can result in a bit of hubris here. You want to make sure you take your opponent seriously. The fact that they are using target bans, though, does lead me to believe they are showing a lot of respect to Gateway. That's good. Cloak and Dagger, the final ban, and now the picks come on through.
Yeah, I don't really see any support bans other than that Cloak and Dagger, right? Oh, and the Gambit. But I think in terms of backlines, everyone's going to be feeling comfortable on the Inviswoman. The Luna Snow we'll see a lot throughout these games. And, well, speak of the devil, right now, yeah, One Hot Pancakes out onto the Luna Snow. And a stronger pick, especially with these teams, by the way. White Fox just seems to be what everyone likes. I don't understand it, but they are just on the White Fox train, and I want you, the viewers, to pay attention to that ultimate that comes out, because a lot of the time it's not exactly used for sustain. It's used to turn the fight in terms of damage and frontline as that Vanguard, because you do not get eliminated if you lose your HP bar in ult form. So keep that in mind, something to look at as we continue forward.
Speaking of the devil, a giant one in T-Rex form right in front of us here, so it does seem that the Dino is at least being allowed to party in the fountain, if not on the battlefield. We'll see how this all works out here. That Phoenix was saved, and that's why you're seeing her implemented on the side of CB South as well.
I did the math. 15th for the Dino is when he was released, which means it has been 2 weeks. It means the Dino is eligible. So we are good to go. No real struggles there. This is going to be my first time seeing the Dino in organized play. Have not yet seen it under a game.
Here come our next
victims. See if they can stand up to the claws of this Wolverine, of course. Intended to kidnap and shred apart any tanks. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Welcome to Map 1.
Jurassic Park with spaceships. Bit of a collab there between maybe Star Wars, Star Trek. Pick your poison, but Real Pup has already found the first on the Fireball, and that's going to spell a bit of problems, right? Obviously, that first Vanguard gone, done, and dusted, meaning you're just leaving the rest of your team to kind of posture up and sustain themselves, and it's a little bit tougher to hold on to that space while also provide that constant healing. Therefore, it's going to be the point gandered over to Gateway side.
CB South trying to play this conservatively after having lost the mid advantage. Don't slam their head against a brick wall. They know too much. They've played too much. They've come too far to go down that easily. Let's pick on the devil. The turn back on top of the Venom. Bells keep on ringing as CB South trying to push out here from the corridor. Having a hard time. Seraphim Shield being put up here, and Rice Christ is doing a great job at base tanking for the team so far.
A little bit aggressive here on this front line. Be careful, but as that HP bar seems to go back up, that danger spells its way away. The Rice Crisis as well, meeting a bit of the aggression back the other way. A big pin in, but it's the counter play that actually works out super well for Gateway. They're dishing out the damage. They've got the heals free of the invisible barrier, and they've certainly secured this fight. The rest just a formality.
Shout out there to the Rai as well, keeping Rice Crisis safe in that moment, almost baiting with their own life. Great shield management on their part as well, but the support play really is what got their goat, because Central Buck South turned their attention to Rice Crisis once they're dropped down about 200. All of a sudden, now they're back up to 600, clean bill of health, and all the rest of Central Buck South are dead, shot down. Big game hunter, Gateway, doing a really good job holding this point, 70% uncontested. Now CB South have to try to make a touch.
Yeah, they'll have a decent amount of time here. The question is, which ult are they going to use to invest, go on in? It is going to be actually the engage by Gateway at first. A little bit aggressive, trying to force out more ults than they could really deal with. And unfortunately, CB South, I mean, they find that opener. The Luna Snow ult gets popped, and Etrame is free to the range. I mean, it's skeet shooting for them, but very clean work of it, too.
Agamotto goes in alongside of the Woman ult, only in exchange for the Luna Snow ultimate. That is a trade that CB South are very happy with. Now they can try their hand at maintaining this foray, same that Gateway did prior. I think Gateway have got good ultimates of their own. Stenon's having a bit of a hard time finding their dive, but the Wolverine trying to get jiggy with it. Fizzy moves in as well with the symbiote, but no kills had just yet by CB South. Gateway are instead having their way with the point. King Wazzy grabs one more. The Wolverine bombs on in, trying to make up the rest of the team, but Javelin is a bit dull there, and it's going to absolutely shatter against Gateway's walls. Point easily retaken by the side of Red.
Definitely a lot of damage being dealt out there in that final moment, but just not enough to really turn the tides in that final fight. This point looks like it's going to just go the way of Gateway, and that's the big resource used, by the way. That teleport now gone. You cannot use it in the next one, except for, of course, 3 minutes go by, I believe the timer is, but think about the grand stake of things real quick, right? If we zoom out, Gateway are coming off the back of an absolutely phenomenal win, a reverse sweep. In theory, they're 3-0 in their last 3 games, and they're taking that momentum and they're running it into this map. Remember, CB South are the favorites technically, although not very far apart from these two teams. This is a matchup that you are expecting to go the distance, and if Gateway can take out a strong start, you might have to favor them even in the end.
I mean, when Gateway have all momentum behind them, sometimes it's a disadvantage in that you're a bit tired. You know, your fingers have been on the keys for a bit. But at the same time, Central Buck South, they're coming in a bit cold. This is their warm-up game. So if Gateway can take this and just keep that momentum going, keep the wind in their sails, maybe they just run over Central Buck South without ever having to look back.
Of course, the unique feature to Marvel Rivals compared to Overwatch, we always talk about this, the ults get saved over from domination point to point, meaning 3 for CB South here and 2 for Gateway, of course, coming up on Ray's Invisible Barrier. So those are things to keep in mind as well. I mean, the engage we've seen really, really good from Gateway and their ideas saying, hey, we're going to use this ult to go on in. Instead, it looks like they're just playing the slow game, playing reactive a bit for now.
Backline, Fizzy. Been the lead initiator so far, will be able to escape for a bit. Rai actually finds first blood on top of the Luna Snow, who's so important last go around. Central Buck South got to try to make management without their Vanguard, or rather without their strategist. That's okay. Javelin can make enough space on their own. Turning Gateway to deli meat so far. Only the support stand alive, but not for too much longer.
A little confused at what happened there. I mean, we saw Blaze obviously use that White Fox ultimate, like we talked about, in sort of a Vanguard way, right? Trying to frontline, tank all that damage so that everyone else can dish it on out. I think One Hot Pancakes used the invisible barrier and had it canceled, hence why they're at 50%. They must have got like stunned out of it, something like that. But those are shines of light for CB South and also for Gateway, right? A bit of a feeler out first fight, but now needs to be followed up with a good second one.
Lokomoto's going to follow it up. That's a really solid ultimate coming out from Rice Crisis. Instantly drops 3 from CB South. Wolverine tries to counter, turns that Venom into mincemeat. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. Javelin's got to find a way out of this point, whether in a coffin. Seems that it's going to be the option there. Central Buck South at the point for a decent amount of time, but Gateway quickly assert their dominance instead.
I mean, this could be a very quick contest out by CB South. They should have the respawn advantage for the majority of their team. The only problem is if they take it a little bit slower, those respawns are going to come back for Gateway as well. And in the end, it looks like, yes, that reset has come through for both teams. So there you have it, a bit of an initiation battle now in the mix. And King Wazzy to find one. The Black Cat making its mark on history here and in this series.
Cats and dogs, me oh my, it is raining damage here. Devil steps up, has that ultimate in pocket. They want to let it rip, but the Venom's going to be the primary target. Once again, Fizzy trying to make sure they're able to escape with their life, and does a good job distracting. Here comes the stomping tantrum. Welcome to Jurassic Park. No insurance policy, no waivers signed, but no deaths either. Invisible Woman ult cancels out all that damage. King Wazzy instead finds blood on top of the Pancakes, who are gobbled up. CB South on their last legs, the members start to drop like flies. It's only the Dino and the Wolverine left, and I don't think they got a chance in hell of standing up against them.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an elongated fight right now, and it's technically going to benefit CB South unless they want to invest another ult in or a miracle happens with Gateway and, you know, maybe a blunder. But that does not happen, right? Gateway secure out the fight, and now that's 20 additional percentage that they would not have had. And that Venom is also coming back later from spawn. Of course, that is on their side. I meant the Wolverine for CB South that was kind of struggling with that respawn timer. So as this next fight goes through, this is going to be basically final fight territory.
Pancake starts it off well, though. Takes down Fizzy. Wazzy goes down as well. Gateway might have to see this point over, unless they really want to stand 10 toes down. Snow does have that ultimate, but I don't anticipate that being used. Seems that Gateway recognized the fight's lost, going to try to retreat back without any additional blood. So CB South do want to try to stagger those death timers if possible.
I mean, that's honestly a really good realization there, right? Both of your supports just backing out, not taking the death, or at least if you're going to do it, go quickly. But they cut their losses. They say, hey, we're not investing any more ults. We understand that we have lost this fight, and this is something that teams in the PIA sometimes do not do. And I have to reward the teams that do. I have to give them some respect because that separates the good teams from the ones that are in the grand finals, I'll tell you that.
CB South had a hard time standing up to Gateway's retakes. Fizzy's got ult. Rice is at the end as well. Lokomoto's going to start it off. Does find the back line, but where's the follow-up? Rice gets one, but gets boiled in the pot right afterwards. And now Central Buck South caught up inside the tendrils. Is that going to be enough, though? Fizzy needs backup, and they don't really have much left in the tank. Quick Star knocks one off. CB South retaining control at this point. This woman will be expended. Lokomoto is the return response coming out here from CB. And Gateway might have the doors slammed shut in front of their face. They're extending this fight by way too much.
Enough to its final fight territory, killed the pinstripes on it, but the TP back from spawn, we talked about how valuable that piece of utility can be. The Black Cat ultimate as well in the mix now, and that seems to be the key to victory. Is it enough?
It might just be. Real Pup asserts dominance over their body double. And Gateway managed to pull victory from the jaws of defeat. A solid TP, you called it out, Ari, we saw it. That's going to be an easy map 1 take. Well, maybe not easy, but a map 1 take nonetheless for Gateway.
Yeah, I think they wanted it to be a little bit easier than it was in the end. But CB South, you could tell they definitely warmed up between that sub map 1 and sub map 2. I mean, the difference was absolutely massive, right? You saw them playing as a team a little bit more. You saw them leaning on their vanguards a bit more to hold that pressure down, make sure that they are propelling the entire team, not just, you know, taking that TDM 1v1v1 style fights. But quick look at the scoreboard here. I mean, 10 final hits for King Wazi as well as 10 for Rice Crisis. And final blows are honestly a lot more key than just a number, right? That is all. Otherwise, if you don't have that final blow, it is just raw damage, which turns into alt charge for the opposing strategist. You got to get those final blows in there. And Atrame as well, we saw popping off as well. But, you know, those are the things you have to think about. So many different factors in the mix here. And when the dust settles, at least with map 1, it is going to be Gateway out on top for the moment.
Ace Crisis is definitely going to get my crown for this game. Of course, that TP was incredibly useful, but even before that, I feel like they did a great job baiting with their life, making sure that they were always a high-value target that the enemy team was trying to pick off. CB South would always turn their attention to them once they're low, but then also I have to, at the same breath, thank those supports for keeping them up, keeping them topped off in the health department, because that's what allowed that Doctor Strange's longevity to be such a freaking thorn in the side here for CB. But like you mentioned, Arti, they're warmed up, we're revved up here in the booth as well. We got a bit more time before Game 2, Map 2 comes at you. So stick around, guys. More PIEA right after this.
Hello, everyone. We are back, and we had a bit of a swap out. D'Lo looks a little bit different next to me on my left, I guess this would be, or your right screen. I forget how that works. But instead, it's Act 1 E-Man. So welcome on in. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I had a little bit of a like a health mishap earlier, but I'm feeling super pumped and excited and ready to get these matches on Championship Series.
Absolutely.
Awesome
Yeah, good
stuff, dude.
Good to have you with us. To fill you in and to fill the viewers in that maybe are kind of just joining us, this is, again, the grand final, best of 5. Gateway currently up 1-0 in the series, but Gateway is kind of the talk of the town right now because earlier in their matchup against McDowell, they were the underdogs. They were not slated to win that game. They were down 2-0. Oh, I lied. Actually, Gateway was favored, but they had a reverse sweep to complete the series, to end the day. It was miraculous, and now they're coming in with very hot momentum into this grand final against CB South. I mean, talk about absolute cinema. We've seen it before, and hopefully we're getting a repeat of that in this grand finals matchup.
I'm a big fan of cinema, a big fan of Marvel Rivals, and a big fan of grand final stakes. I mean, this is obviously the biggest, how you'd say, stakes in the entire series, and I'm ready to see how they go ahead and go with this. I love the idea of the underdog coming in and just sweeping up from beneath our feet whenever we don't even expect it. So I can tell this has already been just such a cinematic, incredible series so far, and you know, I'm really excited to see how the rest of this goes. I'm really hoping that I see some incredible Marvel Rivals gameplay, and I'm scared of the Jeff.
Look at that CB South comp. Look at that. Look at that comp right now.
6 Dinos. Dino has been running the town in Marvel Rivals as of recent. He is probably, arguably, the most powerful tank, I'd say, right now.
And guess what we saw in map 1? Guess what we saw in map 1?
Was it Dino?
We saw Double Devil Dino.
Say
that 5 times fast.
Oh, God. That is definitely a tongue twister. We'll see if they go ahead and do this. We've got a ban coming in from Magic and a save coming in from Gambits. It's a pretty good save in my opinion. Also, I think the Magic was a target ban, as we mentioned before, in like different series prior. So I'm definitely, they're definitely taking people out and seeing what they can go ahead and like pick out in terms of strongest heroes.
To fill you in on the kind of adjustment from the bans from map 1 into map 2, Magic the same, Bucky the same, but Gambit save is different. That is because Gateway banned Gambit second, And CB South apparently wanted to play that character, and so now they're gonna have that first save expended onto the Gambit. Of course, the change, yes, was that Phoenix was saved in that first slot. That is now going to be banned out by Gateway as they've seized the opportunity. But would you look at that?
Oh,
Nope.
wow. No Dino. That's gonna be a fun one. I like that one. You know, it's like whenever you see something like Dino, or at least a character like Dino that's just like running the town, and you have Double Devil Dino on. That is a tongue twister. You're right. Double Devil Dino for both teams. You know, you're expected to see that for the rest of the series. So this is a big shakeup from Central Bucks South whenever they went ahead and banned this.
Can we add another word to it? Depleting Double Devil Dino.
Depleting Double Devil. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot already.
So it's depleting. It's
right,
gone.
You're right. Yeah.
No
Gotta
more.
say it coming in from the Doctor Strange. That means some portal players are going to be coming in, some portal trickery, if you will. And I'm excited to see how they go ahead and do this. Maybe they'll do a spawn portal. Maybe they'll do a portal to get back on point. Who knows? But there's also a save coming in from the Wolverine, which is a great tank buster. So you got to watch your back if you're playing a tank.
Yeah, that was the same save as last time. There, the Strange, I'm not entirely sure if that was saved by Gateway. I'm not going to confidently say one way or the other, but I don't recall Loki being banned, nor Black Cat. These are the Loki one is a target ban on this particular map on a particular player. Which one I can't exactly tell you, but the Black Cat is an adjustment ban from map 1. Was giving them too many problems, was the key to Gateway's success in that final fight, and so that's why you're seeing the changes that we have now. Arti, by the way, not on the Phoenix, of course, now on the Hela.
Nice little swap over to another hit scan character. Really strong one as well. Really strong from season 0 all the way until now. You know, it's just, I think hit scan in this game is always going to be just something that you gotta watch out for, because if you have good aim and you're able to work these characters well, you're just a force to be reckoned with, you know?
See, that's the key. Is the one part you mentioned of that. I love playing hit scan, but I don't have the aim. So I'm glad that these players do and have that confidence to go into these fights, play these characters, and honestly get phenomenal value. I mean, we've seen Arti get a 3K on the Phoenix. I'm sure a lot of these other players have dabbled in the hit scan at one point or another and are very confident in one sense. But new map, new me potentially for CB South, or maybe continuing what they've been building. In submap 1, they were asleep, very cold. In submap 2, they made it really close. They forced the OT and just fell a bit short. So if they are on the up and coming, you got to be careful about them.
As we go ahead into this first team fight, we already have a couple picks coming in from Javelin. Really good, like, backline diver maneuver. And there's also Wanna Be Fizzy coming into the backline themselves, forcing themselves to use the E and forcing themselves way out from that. That was a good trade coming in from Central Bucks South to go and get those 2 first kills and just keep them at bay for a little bit longer. You see there's some players coming in.
On Emma Frost, by the way, is one of those key factors. Because of the Devil Dino swaps, I'm like kind of thinking about what are these teams adjusting to and what is their solution to get them through these fights. And, well, for that, Emma Frost has been pretty strong so far.
Definitely seems like that's the case, because she's just holding her own while we have Javelin again getting another pick, and the rest of the team of Gateway is just gonna fall over as they just walk Central Bucks South pressing W and showing us why they were a strong contender. And I can definitely see it right now, because good lord, they just ran over the team of Gateway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, right? Because arguably, the first point of this map is the most difficult part about it, right? Once you get past that, you can kind of snowball the convoy section of it. But for CB South, right, if they go for this full hold, they'll just be kind of, strong, not have to worry about the rest of the map, and can force, worst draw being a result. Yeah.
And there's the Raging Warrior Flesh gonna get answered back with another one, as well as the Eye of Agamotto. Will it be enough? We have King Wazzy coming in and the Psionic Seduction to secure all of those ults out the way from the Quickster. It may not be enough though, as the Real Pup's gonna go and get one more pick, and there's the Invisible Barrier coming in. He tries to go and stop the barrier, but no, not able to do so, as Javelin gets forced back in with a Psionic Surge, and they're just gonna fall over. That's gonna be the point coming to Gateway. Very nice use of ults.
Well, there is a potential touch coming through here, and the only problem how many more players, well, it doesn't matter, because the point has been capped. So you can flood in through this TP all you want, just send over some ult charge to the other team, and there you have it, history in the books. But Gateway, they have secured themselves this first point, which means we are going to see the second segment. This was a map that Gateway, I believe, won on to kind of turn the tides. I believe this was map 5 in the end.
Let the devil
And the devil comes out. A little bit of a pushback as well, and the Quickster is going to fall. Not quite yet, but the real pup's going to fall from Javelin. That's a very tough DPS to try to dive right there. The Wolverine, you can't really do too much if you don't know exactly how to engage into this fight, and it's not necessarily the best engage, but we'll see how the rest of this goes. Javelin getting another kidnap, but King Wazzy coming in with a double kill of their own over in the backline. You gotta turn around, guys. You're not able to stay in the fight if you don't have any strategists, and we're seeing that first and foremost in the death of Hella's destruction is coming in. We'll be able to
9
move enough quick. Oh, Fizzy! Nice double kill on that dive back in. Just when you thought that you got rid of Venom, he comes right back in with that dive, and he's gonna keep going with the Devour. Are they able to get anything from there? Not quite. They're just able to go and get them all secured, but the real Pup and Rye are able to follow up with this. Quickster's able to get one and trade back on Arti, man. But King Waz is gonna get that trade back as well. Javelin on their own, trying to fight this. They don't have the passive to secure that fight from pretty much falling.
Yeah, I mean, look how much space has been pushed up by Gateway. I mean, it's, I guess you could argue a little bit of a shame that they didn't push the cart along with it, but with that first segment of the convoy section, I mean, you saw only one fight needed to have them secure the point, and that's because of that neutral space that was gained by Gateway before that first fight officially happened. Now you're seeing them reap the rewards of it again.
The Eye of Agamotto was not able to get blocked all the way as the Quickster and Javelin are able to take out so many more. 2 kills for each respectively, and Ethia trying to run away is going to get caught by Arti May to go ahead and get the rest of the staggers. And that's going to be some more push back from Central Block South. They just got a nice stop there. Looks like there's a little bit of an overextend from Gateway.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I think as well, they are just kind of pushing the advantage as much as they can, trying to force out ults for Central Buck South. This was a similar idea to what they had on Domination the previous time, where they basically forced out everything and then just had ult advantage for that final fight when it really mattered. Looks like this time it is going to be relatively even. It's actually 3 ult from Gateway, completely matched out by CB South.
You see Javelin trying to go ahead and try to grab anyone and everyone out there, but they have to force themselves out. Deadpool ult's gonna be all over their screen. They're not able to get too much in there. Passive is gonna get ignited as well. Ethia able to take out the Quickster. That's a lot of the stopping power that we just mentioned earlier out of the gate. As we see Fireball, a little bit of a stagger towards him. This is gonna be a tough one to try and stop. It might be a cap. If anyone's able to touch though, they could be able to stop it.
Hand to Khonshu though, even if they do get a touch, if this is like 3 meters, doesn't matter. Just chuck it on the point.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what we just saw right there. Emma Frost is already falling, and the real Pup getting that nice double kill to secure that cap. They have 1 minute 49 seconds.
Last time Gateway had the cap, I believe it was 0 seconds left on the clock, but they full capped it. They had enough in OT. I'm not exactly sure what that win con was in the end, but yeah, you saw them come out on top, and now they need to come out on top here with 2 minutes in the time bank, which is actually really, really nice for them. Now, don't burn the advantage, right? If you want to hold on to this first point as long as possible for OT, that's ideal. Obviously, I mean, yes, I'm just explaining how to win the game, but it is also that mentality, right? For Gateway, they need to understand that even if you give up this point in the end, it is about that time that you burn off. If your comp is not suited for that full hold, if that's not how you ideally like to play this map, it is okay to sacrifice that as long as you feel comfortable on those rest of those segments and are willing to take those fights and those risks in different channels.
Get ready.
As we're about to go in, I think that the biggest thing that maybe Gateway needs to do is just try to mark Javelin, try to mark that Wolverine that's just keeping on getting those nice early picks throughout all these team fights. I think that's a big thing they got to do, but we'll see how they proceed. going here. We already have a Venom on point in the, almost in the spawn of Central Block South. So let's see if the dive goes well here. 2 seconds left, and let's get this round underway. A little bit of a change coming in. Fireball on the Thing now. That's going to be an immovable object. Let's see if they can find the unstoppable force to match that.
My only worry is that this Venom is just going to kind of go in and not really force out too much. Just kind of feed a bit of all charge. This is a risky position to be in. Obviously, they do have that ability to give them additional bonus health and get out and out of dodge, but I'm looking at this Moon Knight being the key character for this ult. If that Moon Knight goes down, you are looking at a very consistent now lack of damage, and the team, you know, kind of grasping at straws.
Most definitely. We have some haymakers coming in. A nice one onto Ethia. That's one strategist down. That's not the person you want to go and fall. And there's the Deadpool ultimate to go and try to counteract that. It's not going to be enough, though, as the rest of Gateway is going to fall over. And there's going to be the last pick that you need to secure this one. A lot more extra time for Central Block South out in the first cap here. Very different from Gateway's attack. And there is the Moon Knight going to fall. Will we have some more touches coming in? Will they be able to secure it all? I don't think so, as the rest of it is going to fall. There's a portal.
What's going on here? Why is there so much being invested into a lost cause, a lost fight? I mean, obviously, right, they had the vision. They had an inkling that maybe there was time left, but no. No, instead, you're going to be wrong on this one. And, of course, that is a quick fix. It's not something that's going to cost you the entire game. I say, completely not potentially foreshadowing into the future, but still, like, those are things you can come back from. It's not an ult wasted in the final fight. You can make things work. Just have that mentality going forward.
And if Clutch is going to go ahead and come in, there is an Eternal Bond online coming in from Central Block South, and there's the Raging Warrior Flush, though, to try to secure that anti-dive right there, and it's going to be the King Wazzy and the Deadpool forcing those all the way out after choosing that upgrade just to go ahead and get themselves in the way. Javelin able to get a nice pick onto Rise Crisis. That's going to be a nice pick on the tank. Remember, you got to watch out for that if you're a tank player, because that is something that you don't want to have running at you as a Wolverine. And the Quickster with a nice pick onto the real pup. Have a meteor M online as well.
Did that much damage.
I love that Magneto has that damage. And there's the Devourer coming in with the Eternal Bond. And there's the Barbarian Meteor M going to try to counteract that. We'll be able to do so. We do have Javelin with a triple kill off of that Wolverine ult. That was incredible to see. This instantly negating the ultimate ability that was the Invisible Woman.
Yeah, massive. Absolutely. I mean, a chance to kind of get things going, and instead completely removed. CB South on a tear. I mean, 5 minutes at this particular spot with it. Doesn't look like Gateway trying to contest early in this, you know, next segment of the convoy. It really does spell this dominance that they are capable of. Now, of course, we wish to see it, I guess, a little bit earlier from them for their sake, but still plenty of time to come back if you're Gateway as well.
A little bit of a tip of a kidnap there from Javelin. There's a Raging Warrior Flush. And there's Clobbering Time coming in, able to find one, but not able to get the kill secured. He's gonna go ahead and fall along with Arti. That's 1 DPS and 1 tank down. With that Eye of Agamotto, this is gonna be a tough one to try to counteract, and there's gonna be an instant flip. You know, I dare I say, a blink and you'll miss it moment.
I mean, again, though, right, we talk about burning off time, and I would say mostly, okay, yeah, they want to fight. Like, that's good for them. But remember, CB South, that was such a quick fight that, yes, time was burned down, but it was only 30 seconds. I mean, they're back in the nick of time to do whatever they would like. Of course, the real pup is going to use that hand of Conchu to kind of stall this fight out for a little bit longer. But Gateway may or may not be running out of resources. Up to them to prove if they really have what it takes to win this one out.
Devourer of the Abyss is online right now. Having to use that E is fizzy, but he has to get all the way out because Wolverine's right in your face. We have 3 ultimate abilities online for Central Block South. One's going to get used instantly. That's the Raging Warrior Flush, as well as the Goddess of Death coming in, able to take out a couple. Arti may as well. With the Quickster getting 3 and getting 2 respectively. That's going to be almost a team wipe of Gateway. Ethia needs to run all the way away, but it looks like the Quickster has win of exactly where they are. They're not going to try to go on this, though, because that is a dangerous game to play, especially if you're playing Magneto.
Absolutely. I mean, Real Pup, a little unfortunate. You saw them whiff their hook 3 times and unfortunately get punished for it, but I don't think it really mattered in the grand scheme of things. Inside the backline, though, is the Venom going for the Devour and actually does pick up the opener.
It's a nice early pick that you need right there. Quickster having the force all the way back after using that team-up ability from Gambit. A really strong team ability that gives Magneto such great damage, but not able to go and secure most of the value off of that because of that early pick that you mentioned earlier.
I'm curious how King Wazi wants to use this Horn of Proteus. Maybe off the back of a diving strike, something like that. I mean, obviously, they're not going to opt for it here because they don't feel pressured, but it does come in eventually, and it's Blaze that falls down again. Strategist falling early spells disaster for the team that finds themselves in that position, and again, a reset now required for CB South.
Looks like so far Gateway's been able to get these nice picks that you need to go and secure these fights. It's happened twice already in these last 2 team fights. We'll see if they go and keep this one up. So far, it seems like Gateway has something in there. And there's a hand of Conchu coming in. It's going to force Fireball all the way out and into harm's way. Is he still able to keep himself alive? Yes, he can. Just have to watch out for that Ankh.
I don't know how he's still alive.
Oh, almost tried to kidnap there. There's going to be the Eternal Bond and the Meteor M coming in to try and stop the other Eternal Bond. There it is! Slam dunk from the Quickster as the rest of the team try their hardest to hold on. And that's Gateway's team. Another kill after Red Crisis uses that Eye of Agamotto. A little bit of an ult not being able to use his full potential. And we have Javelin still on a rampage themselves. See if they can go and get a nice big ult coming in. Over to the spawn area. 2 tanks on the point. You gotta go into this now. Raging Warrior Flush coming in, and there's the damage coming in as well from Javelin as well. Another Raging Warrior Flush coming in. Will it be able to be enough though? Looks like it's a little bit of a scatter of the fight going in. Fizzy able to take out Pancakes. It's a strategist down. That's not what you want to see in this team fight. You have to keep yourself alive here, but the strategist falling is not going to be something you want at all. Exactly, that's what I just said. As Gateway is going to get another stop. Less than a minute left. Central Buck South have to cap this 3rd point.
It's crazy because from Javelin's POV, that fight looks like almost absurdly won in their favor. Like there's almost no way that they can lose it. But instead, it is that pressure in the back line, maybe a bit of an overextension, or maybe just lack of immediate value from the dive character. It spells for disaster in that fight and potentially leading into this one.
Exactly. Nice OE pick coming in. Goddess of Death's going to get ignited as well from Arti and May. They're going to burn that almost instantly as King Wazi's taking a lot of damage, forced off the high ground, off of the advantageous position, but still getting those nice shots in with those spears, excuse me. As the rest of it comes right in. Nice pick as well onto Blaze. A strategist is going to fall, and that's going to be... That might spell a disaster as Javelin is able to get that ultimate ability off, gets one with a Quickster, and Fireball Tub gets the one with that Haymaker. And that's going to be overtime ignited just like that. It may spell for the end of this round. They're capping with 0 time left on the clock.
Now, I'm going to be honest. I forget if they get a time bank left. Yes, they do. Okay, so it's not right where they're only playing for a draw. They do have some time to go and work with. The only problem is that Gateway have 3 minutes, 3 times what CB South has. And of course, they did find their footing, but it was over towards the end of the convoy section that is CB South. They did actually kind of walk through that first point as well, but I'm almost scared for them in the sense of can they replicate it quickly? Because Gateway, surely they make it some sort of adaptation to not fall just over flat like that again.
Stefan, you don't want to fall over flat, especially with, you know, the amount of team play that you have coming in. And some great heroes as well to counteract the entirety of Central Buck South right now, but it seems like it's not been able to work too well in their favor. Actually, excuse me, it seems like it's definitely working well in their favor. They were able to go ahead and mark Javelin, excuse me, and allow him to not get as much value. There's some misses coming in on the kidnaps as well that definitely didn't spell for a good idea, but we're gonna see how this one goes in. Another attack coming in from Central Buck South. See if they can find what it was that they need to do here. King Wazio on the Namor as well.
4, 3,
setting up really nicely.
1.
And the round's gonna go ahead and begin.
Capture the mission area.
A dismiss out of the spawn room just in case anyone tried to do anything funny. They don't
think
have
this game-
wind. Oh, I
was
have
gonna say-
Pancakes might know that Nomura's up there. And there's a dive coming in. Bubble goes onto the Gambit. Great use of the bubble, and just like that, almost is going to be a failed dive. Quickster with a nice pick onto Wazzy. That's one duelist down. That means it's going to be a little bit of a disaster for Gateway side as a defense. And there's the diving strike coming in from the Venom as well. Kidnap coming in from Javelin, forcing the use of that E and forcing all the way out is Fizzy. Another dismiss comes right in, and Haymakers go wild. Fizzy has no E here to go and save themselves as they fall to Fireball with that Haymaker. 10 seconds left on the clock, and they have to get this point underway. Just one tick, and they're still trying to get the rest of them. Fireball sub gets one with Javelin, and that's overtime ignited before they're able to get the pick off. That's going to be a lot of good time that they are able to sustain themselves with. Gateway is still trying to get on this point, stay on this point to keep this fight alive. All of them are falling low on HP, though. They have to either fall back or fall over, and it looks like it's still going to be a fight coming in. The hand of Khonshu comes in from Wazzy as he gets two, and there's one more for Wazzy. Arti with the trade back, but it's not going to be worth it. The round's going to be over.
Is 3, 2,
Wow.
3.
Very chaotic there. I mean, obviously, we knew that TP was going to come through if the touch was made, and it was. It was Athea on that Gambit, just kind of trotting over onto point, and you started to think, okay, well, they're just going to get taken down, right? But they didn't. And so that little bit of stall, that final blow that doesn't come through, leads to now the team being kept up. That's additional support for the rest of the players that are starting to trickle in from the point, and then of course it stalls for that TP in the end. I mean, that was a fight that in theory should have been won. Can't exactly, nitpick the moment where they started to struggle, or, the player that maybe whiffed a shot or anything, because of course, I mean, it's just Gateway also coming back and finding some sort of resurgence. But CB South, I mean, if they want to win the grand finals here, I mean, those are the moments that you need to capitalize on. Instead, they leave with 86% instead of the 100, instead of pushing on to the convoy segment where they thrived. And so now you've got a much more intense, higher stakes situation where 3 minutes guarantee we will have a decided map victor.
And it's definitely those small moments that you need to watch out for, those small moments that you need to play, I guess, perfect Marvel Rivals if you want to go ahead and continue on with this victory. It's very, very tough, especially within the grand final stakes, to keep yourself into this fight. As we begin with Gateway's attack, they have just a little bit to cap here with a lot of time on the clock. We'll see if they go ahead and get this underway. Some shots are going to go ahead and go in. So far, there's a dive coming into the back line. And Rice Crisis pushes up because of that.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, are they able to do anything with that? Probably not, but they are forced all the way back, almost off the point entirely, which means that Gateway can just walk on forward onto the point as well to get that good contest. And Fizzy with a nice pick onto Blaze, the strategist falls, and there is going to be probably the team falling as well, and there's the King Wazzy with the ult to try to secure this one going. Arti is going to fall as well to King Wazzy, and Wazzy's going to go ahead and go on a rampage, get themselves one more, and this is another, and Athea is going to grab that final one, and there it is. Looks like it's going to be Gateway taking the victory here as anyone's... Oh, TP's coming in. I spoke a little too soon. Well, they wouldn't be able to touch. Hand of Khonshu comes in. Eternal Bond comes in as well. Will this be enough to secure it? The real pup with that Hand of Khonshu, though, is going to go ahead and get that nice pick. I hope Pancakes are getting that nice kill onto Fizzy. It's going to be a good trade coming in as Rice Crisis falls to Javelin, and Pancakes and Arti are just taking the necessary things that they need to do. They got one tick or two ticks already on Gateway's side. They just need a little over half another one to secure this.
I mean, good resurgence. Again, the kind of deciding factor that we saw in that first place to get CB South over the line is instead now used by Gateway. Once again, giving them a bit more room to work with. That was a teleport that I heard, I think. Yeah, it's going to be TP on the point. Hard engage comes through. Meteor M goes wide, and this needs to be that moment where one of these teams needs to make that deciding factor move.
And it seems like Gateway is going to be the one to make that deciding factor as all the ultimates come online just to get this point underway. And there we have it. Gateway is going to reign victorious, getting their second map here in this grand finals.
I mean, we saw the difference between those time banks be the key in the end to victory. I mean, CB South, had they had an equal time bank, they would have won it out, right? The 2 ticks wouldn't have been enough. They would have found the recontest and found the way to victory. Instead, though, it was Gateway that were strong out of the gate, no pun intended, that led them to be now on series points. I mean, they are 1 map away from taking home a title. That has got to be a good feeling. Just look at the scoreboard. I mean, 18 final blows. We talked about those earlier. But as well, that healing category, very much in favor of CB South. And yet those ultimates were not enough to show for it and get them across the line.
Most definitely. And I'm just looking at the rest of the team coming in from Gateway. King Wazzy with the 23 final hits themselves. That is a crazy amount of final hits, especially with any duelist on the roster of Marvel Rivals. So I think it was obviously a great display of everyone's abilities. This is no easy feat, I should say. This is no easy game to play for just anyone. These are the top of the top right now, and we're definitely seeing it from the entire diaspora of the teams. You got incredible healing, incredible dueling, and incredible tanking as well. It's just all in all great, but it looks like Gateway is going to reign victorious with the extra time bank here, which is exactly what they just needed. As we said, it could have been differently had the time been a little more even, or even swapped. Who knows? We'll see. But Central Buck South are on match point. They have to win this next one if they want to stay in the fight.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's that situation where domination actually kind of carries over into that second map. Not just the momentum, right? But the fact of Gateway being a lot stronger on that kind of point holding and taking aspect allows them to flourish in those key moments where it matters in, say, convergence, right? Now that we move on to Convoy, though, the stakes start to change a little bit, and that information or that prior knowledge or that comfortability, it's going to fade away a little bit, right? Obviously, both of those teams had to go through the Convoy section of that convergence map. They did both full caps, so if you're looking at time banks potentially being a factor again, this is certainly a map that could be. However, right, it does stress a little bit more importance on each and every fight. That ult cycle becomes even more promising and detrimental if you don't have it going for you in the right direction. So keep your eyes peeled on those ults. That's my 2 cents coming through, and bless you.
Thank you so much, Ari. Appreciate that. As we begin with this potential final map here, looks like we're going to... Which one do you think we're going to go to, Ari?
Well, it's Convoy, right? Well,
yeah.
So here's the thing. Well, usually it's Domination, Convoy, Convergence, but we went to Convergence second, which I believe it is the loser that choose map and I guess mode. Usually teams just do Convoy second, but I guess we're in a little bit different of a world here. And Gateway, obviously, it's not their choice. It goes over to the side of CB South. They're the 1 seed. They're coming in. They're supposed to be the best of the best. What is the map they take us to? I'm going to say, I think it has to be Convoy, right? So I'm going to say Yggdrasil. Make it Old Faithful. And it's not.
It's not Yggdrasil. It's going to be Hell's Heaven instead.
Is that legal?
And interesting.
Is that legal?
It is a good question. We'll see if that is legal. I'm assuming so, but I mean, the Hell's Heaven map changes in the middle of the round are always going to be the make or break of anyone's team. If you don't take into account that things are shifting over, you're not really taking into account how to win on this map entirely.
And of course, that means as well, the team that has that control of the map when things are shifting can be favored a lot more in that particular fight because of the fact that now the team on the other side of that wall forced to take a different avenue, a little bit more time burned, an additional percentage gain to them. Of course, I believe that happens around, it's either 50 or 75%. I always forget. I kind of gaslit myself into thinking one was the other, and I was wrong the one time, and now I don't know which one it is to be 100% with. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this map is a fun one. Don't get me wrong. The thing is going to work really, really well here. Hell is going to work for select maps on this one, and you're going to have Vanguards play a big role. Speaking of Vanguards, to bring back the Devil Dino. Is that going to be the case in this map, or do you think we see that ban come through again, or the insta-save?
You know, I'm expecting an insta save, honestly, considering the sheer power of Devil Dino. You know, the dual Devil Dino duel is going to be something that I think we can look forward to simply because of, you know, his entire kit as a whole, as it is right now. So I'm thinking that we're gonna go ahead and see a save coming in for Devil Dino. As far as a ban, I think we're gonna try to ban Wolverine, if I'm not mistaken, because Javelin was just on a tear with Wolverine. I think, no pun intended there, because, you know, Wolverine tears everything. And it looks like you were right, Ari.
Ah, okay. I can start deleting my Discord message that I was typing. Okay. We are good, and we are over to Yggdrasil Path. So there you have it. All the options going to be exhausted before that reset can occur, and domination can be replayed. It is Yggdrasil Path. Again, I hate to keep bringing this up, but Gateway, they played in that previous series that we saw today. It was on Yggdrasil Path. And I want to say this was also one of the maps that they won on, which is a little interesting why CB South would pick into it. Maybe just a universal comfortability as opposed to maybe an anti-strat. But I think, honestly, it is more important to choose a map that your opponents are bad at than one that you feel generally comfortable with, unless you have absurd strats, right? Or something that you can go crazy with. Because otherwise, you are putting question marks into the map. And that's what you want to do if you feel like you're the underdog or you're struggling. Because even though you may not be the most comfortable, they also will be struggling. You can get away with solo plays. You can get away with untraditional heroes. And you can make it work.
And that's the beauty of it all. You know, you can just take the game into your hands and mold it to what you want it to be. And that's what I think Marvel Rivals is all about. That's why it has so many characters, simply because there's so many different avenues, so many different ways in which you can play. And, you know, Mastery doesn't just stop on a roll. It actually just has very different, I think, yeah, exactly, very different everything. You know, you have some characters that are good, or some players that are good on certain characters, and things like that. As we get into the ban phase coming in, we have the first ban almost underway. I'm going to guess it is Magic. I'm going to think of another Magic ban.
Oh, yeah, it was Bucky, and then it was Magic on the other way.
Oh, okay, I see. Yes.
Yeah, the right idea. I just flipped it around. Yep.
Yeah, just a little flip. There it is. Exactly. Bucky, then Magic. Now we're going to see the first save.
Wolf or Dino?
Either one of the two. Definitely has to be either one of the two. Since they did already ban out the Bucky. Wolverine is still... Oh, whoa! It's going to be a Gambit save. Okay.
Fair.
You like that.
Are we
like
just going to have a repeat a second map then? With these saves going the similar way. I mean, judging by the hovers, this looks a little different. I mean, the Invis Woman save comes through, which means they don't feel worried about whatever ban could come through, or maybe certain players. Like, they're not going to... I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I don't exactly know what the thought process was behind there, but I guess, I mean, it's a safeguard to have. Keep your most important main factor. I guess fair enough.
And there it is. The ban coming in from Wolverine from Gateway over on the Wolverine. And just like that, we have a ban as well on the Devil Dino. Just taking out two of the most important characters on each of those teams right there. We have a save coming in as well from the Punisher, which is a really good damage per second. I mean, really good damage per second. And a save as well on the Black Cat.
My.
Wow. That's gonna be terrifying.
That's disgusting. That is criminal. Because get ready for the King Wazi feast and making the enemy deceased. That is exactly what is gonna happen here. Of course, that is if they allow for their will to be imposed. CB South obviously not just going to roll over and take it. They will ban out Fizzy's Venom, which has been a staple of this comp as well. But we also did see them in Angela before. Pick your poison, really.
And it's also a ban onto the Vanpool, which honestly I think Vanpool is still really, really strong in today's Marvel Rivals competitive society. It's still something you have to watch out for. So I think the ban coming in like there is a good ban. Most definitely. As we begin with this team coming in, we have a nice little poke coming in with the Thing from Central Buck South.
Called it.
In Gateway, looking like they're going to go ahead and do the same as well, but they do have an Angela instead of the Thing for the diving tank.
As much as I like to do silly wordplay or make jokes and comments about, you know, fundamentals, things like that. Don't forget I know ball, okay? When I lock in, I know what's going on. I know what these players are thinking, how they're playing. Obviously, I'm not the one playing, so I don't know everything. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend like I do, but you got to give me some credit sometimes, right? An educated guess is still one that is going to be valuable, at least for a team like Gateway, right? This is exactly what they're thinking. That's what they base their hero picks and bans off of. That is the idea that drives them through this map. So best of luck to both teams. Again, potentially the final map, obviously, potentially not. If CB South can lock in and pick up their first map of the series.
We already saw a little bit of a dive coming in from that Catwoman, not able to do anything. And Javelin with a nice shotgun straight to the face of Fizzy on that Angela. You can't really run into the Punisher anymore. That shotgun is going to be incredibly powerful. Javelin with another pick already onto the Duriel Pup. And you have these haymakers coming in, keeping the team of Gateway at bay, because that thing has a strong fist and you don't want to get in front of it. As Rice Crisis tries to fight for their life on the point, are they able to go and secure anything further away? They have a little bit of a build-up with that E. Let's see if they can burst out and get some good damage and good ult charge as well. Maybe not. Oh, and just like that, it looks like we have a little bit of a trap coming in. Nice. I have Pancakes is going to get that trade onto Evia, though. And just like that, the thing tries to go in and just get that trade back, but it's not going to be enough. Blade, a little bit of a fish out of water with the bat, with not a good positioning in that situation. Going to get picked up by the Real Pup. But it may not be enough here. Fizzy and the Real Pup are still on the run, on a rampage, and Wazzy with that extra damage to see if they can get some pickpocketing coming in to get some of those upgrades.
Both teams just inverted. I think for CB South, it was their backline became their front line, and for Gateway, their front line became CB South's backline. A little bit chaotic, and in the end, I mean, Gateway will have won that fight, but CB South need to make some sort of mark on this, and the invisible barriers a mash on both sides. Because they go up at about even time, this is going to be a stalemate. You could probably just sit around in this ult and still be taking these haymakers. Can't take that though.
Time comes in. Oh, goodness gracious. That was a bloodbath.
You can tank one fist. You can't take a boop into the sky, a stun up, and a whole bunch of bullets past your face. That one will hurt a lot more.
Most definitely. And he still, it looks like Central Buck South able to still hold on to a couple ults themselves. They have the Punisher ult as well coming in, which is the final judgment. That's going to be a really tough one to try to break through. We have a Raging Rare Flush coming in on Gateway side though, along with the Eye of Agamotto. We'll see if they use that for the final push here and to go and cap this point. They still have a minute 23 left, so there's still not a bad amount of time coming in. And there it is, the Raging Rare Flush and the Eye of Agamotto on both sides. But there we have the cat coming in with that ultimate herself. Gonna dive onto everyone. Will it be enough though? I haven't seen much happening, so maybe not. Fireball though, able to get that nice kill into Wazzy. That's gonna be that ult coming out, and Rye with a trade back along with Fizzy onto the Quickster. And we have Fireball Tub trying to hold their own after that skirmish, not able to get anything on their way though, as the cap is gonna go ahead and go in for Gateway.
I mean, the numbers were relatively even-ish. It's just that Gateway, the fights that they took, I mean, there were two separate fights. One was a 3 versus basically 1 of just Snapthorn left hung out to dry at the point. And the other one, again, a 3 versus 2, but in the back lines where resources need to be used just to preserve their lives as opposed to scale forward and help out that team. And because both of those fights are happening at the same time, Gateway find themselves yet another segment capture.
And Conchu comes in along with that Angela ultimate ability as the Real Pup is able to get that ice pick onto Fireball Top. That's a Vanguard out for the count, which is going to be a spell of disaster for the team of Central Buck South. And there's the Horn of Proteus coming in onto the point, able to grab the Real Pup. Nice little pick right there. We have a shotgun from Javelin onto the Angela. You can't dive onto that. That's going to be a tough one to try to get at.
Yeah, I was thinking about why that Angela would be so potent, or sorry, the Punisher, why that pick came through, but it was for the shotgun, less for the rifle, because the anti-dive is so potent. You're absolutely right.
That shotgun, I think they went ahead and buffed it to 1,000,000 over this last patch.
It feels like it.
He is definitely coming in, and the Eye of Agamotto is going to be negated almost entirely with that psionic burst, and the invisible barrier comes out. Nice little trade coming in, and the Eye of Agamotto comes in as well. It's going to be blocked, partially able to keep the Real Pup alive in that team fight, able to get another one. The Real Pup even one more, and that block coming in from Rice Crisis was all that they needed to go ahead and secure this team fight.
There's still a chance to stop.
Yeah, invisible barrier versus eternal bond there, and it's a situation where one of those teams can move around freely with that point, scale up however they please. The other kind of banished into just that circle, that radius over towards their spawn, really. And it did not allow for them to take the fight that they wanted. In turn, Gateway find the punish, and again now have the upper hand in this next fight. I guess the ults, you could argue, are about tied.
Oh, nice early pick from Javelin and the Quickster as well. They're answering back quite well here. As the
Please
rest
don't
of
invest
Gateway.
ults.
Let's hope they go ahead and don't do that for this one. We'll see how this fight goes in. Javelin with a nice damage output coming in on the Punisher. Great use of their abilities, and the shotgun comes out as well to try to stop this fight coming in. Horn of Proteus and Raging Warrior Flush along with that Clover in time coming right out, and the hand of Khonshu's there onto the back line. We'll see if they're able to go ahead and get this nice separation coming in of the Central Buck South side. That Moon Knight ultimate was just forcing the strategists all the way back towards the spawn, which meant that Fireball was a fish out of water.
He haymakered his way into a hand of Khonshu. That one was very painful and costly, but the reason why I said don't use those ults early is because even if you do find the picks, that respawn is so close that the time you're burning off isn't as critical. Let Gateway burn their ults, but now CB South doesn't have anything to respond with. This is going to be a very tough fight to win.
By the Eye of
Definitely,
Agamotto.
Eye of Agamotto is going to go ahead and go in. It looks like it's going to go wide a little bit, not able to secure any stuns coming in, but the kidnap onto Snapthorn, forcing himself into the air with low HP. And Heaven's gonna fall along with that Phoenix ultimate earlier. It's going to spell for a disaster for Central Buck South, forcing them all the way back and allowing Gateway to continue this push. Raging Warrior Flush comes in, and the Eye of Agamotto as well. Is it gonna be able to find anyone? Not quite. Another whip coming in, but it may still allow them to push up onto this cart and keep themselves in this fight for another minute left on the clock for Gateway.
Yeah, I think there must have been a call to disengage from that fight, and I guess validly so. This Eternal Bond looks really good. Invisible Barrier, though, in the mix as well. And I'm looking at the Real Pup Salt Charge. That's going to be the key to victory here, right? You can farm that one up, get it to 100. You can launch it in wherever. But Punisher all invested as well. That's going to find a fish out of water, like you've been mentioning. Rice Crisis goes down, and now 30 seconds. Of course, the TP will still be available if they choose to use it either from spawn or just to get better positioning. But this is going to be a scrappy final fight. But look at that hand of Khonshu. It's farmed up. Raging World Flush right about behind it.
You're exactly right there, and we do have just a strong stand coming in as well. We have about 20 seconds left. There's still a fight to be had here. Teleport's gonna go ahead and go on to the point as well. Got a kidnap coming in from Fizzy as he tries to go in, and Raging Warrior Flush comes in along with that Horn of Proteus to go ahead and stop anything from happening in there. And there's the Strangling Prison to secure everyone onto that point, but there's enough healing to keep everyone alive, as unfortunately Fireball is going to fall along with the Quickster Blaze falling half an HP, Snapthorn falling as well. Both Vanguards are out for the count as Gateway looks like they're going to go ahead and have this point secured if no one's able to touch quite yet. We do have a Punisher onto the point. It's gonna fall immediately to that Real Pup, and one more for the road. One more again for the road is Fizzy and the Real Pup coming in, and there's the Eye of Agamotto to stop them right at the spawn.
The current score is
Just watching Angela is ADHD brain food. Like, I'm just staring, watching as this character flies around, dashes every which way, and comes out with the crucial picks in the end. I mean, obviously had that off-angle pressure for the TP value to come through, the players to jump out, the hand of Khonshu. I mean, we knew with the ults that were available, Gateway were not going to lose that final fight unless CB South magically farmed up an ult, stayed alive long enough, and either Gateway blundered or they pulled out an absolute miracle. Of course, that doesn't happen there in that case, and so Gateway looking strong in this third map with that full cap. Of course, 0 time bank, so I guess we could talk about that a little bit more, but I think CB South basically have their hands full. Fireball swapping off of that thing onto the Groot. I'm honestly gonna say it's a slight downgrade. I think that consistent damage that the thing has been providing and that just pure tankiness and absorption that is available has provided CB South a little bit more than, say, something like a wall would, because Gateway just fly over it or jump over it or, you know, dash by. And it's one of those things where you could argue in some situations it's a side grade, the thing to the group, but I think just in the way that we saw. Okay, you heard me.
Ending in 1 second,
4,
and the round will be beginning in 4.
2, 1.
Funny to me, by the way, that Central Bucks South are on what almost appears to be more of a defensive comp on the attacking side. I just find that comedic.
And almost a disaster spelled as Javelin's able to use that smoke to bounce themselves back away from the team of Gateway. There's a really good kidnap from Fizzy, however. Fizzy tries to go in for one more, able to grab Snapthorn on the Doctor Strange, but he's able to fly out himself. He's gonna have to fall to 5 HP though, which means you have to play a little safer to try to get back up into this team fight. Fireball Tub taking these shots and going right at them. King Wazzy coming in on the left side though. Gotta watch out for that dive in the back line. We'll see if it works out. There's a trap coming in. And so far, looks like they're not able to secure quite much for themselves. Looks like Rice Christ is still in that team fight. It's gonna fall all the way out, just away from the team as that wall goes right behind him. Hand of Conchu's online. Put a real pup here. See if they use this for this team fight. And just like that, Ethan is able to take out Snapthorn. The real pup though, almost trying to get out of there as Quickster's able to get that nice spear on to them for the final hit. Fizzy trying to stay on the point and stay alive as Quickster's just on a tear themselves, taking out anyone and everyone on the team. Javelin getting one more into King Wazzy, and that's that backline. No TP quite yet. 5 minutes still on the clock. That's that backline die that we were looking out for from Wazzy. It's gonna be fell short from Javelin. Gonna be a swap coming in though. Onto Black Cat.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the Psylocke didn't feel as comfortable for them. I think, by the way, Gateway in that first segment did not play to their win conditions. They were on a bit of a dive comp, and they would lose in the raw damage battle against a Gambit, Namor, or Punisher. That's just going to be the case. You need to execute what your comp has, and it looks like in the second fight they had a better vision. The only problem is that the snowball from that first point, the ults available for CB South, too much. I mean, kill feed is all blue, and just one straggler Strange behind before he will also be removed.
Just like that. And do want to say maybe that Raging Royal Flush was used a bit too early in that team fight there, as it looks like they weren't able to just go ahead and get most of the value out of it from the ultimate themselves. But good idea, just a little bit of a wrong execution as the Horn of Proteus comes in, not able to grab anyone. And there's the Moon coming in to haunt the team of Central Bucks South as the real pup goes on a tear themselves. Looks like we have another pause coming in.
Just an ult, so when there's, you know, only a few players left, I think that's something to maybe consider. But, you know, I guess this is hindsight. This is all kind of theoretical talk, game theory. It is just something to note. And if it comes up, well, I can say I told you so. Or I can say, hey, look, we talked about that.
Exactly. I thought he was going to use it at first point, personally, but we'll see how this one goes in. I have a Meteor M almost online with the Eye of Agamotto and the Invisible Barrier coming in from Central Bucks South. Both of those online. But we do have the Black Cat ultimate as well. It's another Eye of Agamotto. Sonic Surge is going to go ahead and push that little play away. It looks like they were going to try to go for an early stun there, but not able to get anything out. And there it is. Eye of Agamotto comes in. Not able to find much, though, because there's going to be a lot of fights coming in. And just like that, we do have a block with that Meteor M. Looks like it was blocked on the back of Snapthorn, if I'm not mistaken. Back to full HP, though. Fireball Tub's able to get one out, but it's going to be a spell for disaster for the rest of the team in Central Bucks South. Keep trying to stay alive here, and they're not able to do so. And we have a walk from Ethia, or farming.
You've got, what, Raging Royal Flush, Strangling Prison as this next one. On the other side, Ryan's got the Invisible Barrier. I mean, Thea's with that Raging Royal Flush. I think you do the Invisible Barrier first. You wait until Blaze pumps. Well, you wait until one of the ults happens, or both, because we know that combo is certainly effective. But once you have that, then you create a resurgence afterwards with Athea, with Rice Crisis there. And I think that's going to be your key to victory, your win con. But instead, they say, no, we're going to engage early. And what do I know? I mean, they're right in this one. They make the hard engage, and the rest should be history, at least to force these players back to spawn.
Oh, the final judgment comes right in. Invisible barrier, though, to go ahead and stop that final judgment. That was a nice use. You can't see a thing right now if you're the Punisher. And that's just your ultimate ability out for the count as King Waz is able to take out Snapthorn. It's going to spell for disaster for Central Buck South as they keep trying to grab onto straws here, see if they can get anything to go their way at the moment. So far, it looks like nothing is in their favor. They did lose that Strangling Prison in that last team fight, which was a really tragic loss right there. Hand of Contra comes in as well to stop anything from happening, and there's a dive from King Wazzy onto the back line, and Ethia, Rice Crisis, and everyone else on Gateway's side are just taking the entire reins for this fight.
King Wesley's nuts, by the way. Like, who's getting... I mean, I just don't understand how to play dive characters. I'm not a dive player in this game, and I just don't get how they do it, right? Usually, you know, when I'm on support, I just turn around and I just shoot them with CC, but that CC isn't available. I mean, you have an Invis woman who can kind of boop you away, but for the most part, you're relying on the rest of your team to dish out that damage. Horn of Proteus not gonna do any.
Like they caught wind of that so early, and they were just able to step out of it. So we have some more fights coming. A lot of fights onto the cart. Looks like a lot of people on Gateway are going to fall quite low in their HP, so they're going to have to fall a little bit back themselves. See if they can try to get themselves a little bit of a kited pick right here. We have the Raking Royal Flush coming in from Central Buck South, pushing up even more. And there's that invisible barrier comes in to stop that, but the Eye of Agamotto comes in. It's like not able to go ahead and secure much, though, as the rest of the team is not going to be able to follow up with that. The Hand of Khonshu and that Black Talisman are going to come in. And we have the Maya with that Meteor M to go ahead and secure that kill. And oh my goodness gracious,
2, 3.
that was incredible from Gateway. Wow, just textbook use of ultimates from everyone on that team at that moment, and they were able to secure that victory right then and there.
You can't see me right now, but I'm clapping. I was clapping because that is absolutely right. I mean, phenomenal usage of what the ults were, but just the realization of what we talked about throughout those first few fights, and then they come and they bring it to fruition is that win con, right? What do they need to do in order to win these fights? What strength does their comp have that is causing their opponents to struggle? And they realize that although they're not on a hard dive comp anymore, they still do have that bit of dive. So taking the initiative, especially with the Black Cat, is going to go a lot better for them. Quick pick at the scoreboard, of course. 42,000 damage for the real pup. Ooh. Like 2 times almost anyone on the server. Almost.
That is just the work of Moon Knight right then and there. You know, you talked about earlier how Moon Knight can build his ultimate in just about 20 seconds. That's just because of the amount of damage output that Moon Knight has as a whole. You know, you got the Ankh that can just, if you throw it down and you throw things at it, it'll just bounce between anyone and everyone standing in that radius, which means it's already at a higher DPS, and that just bouncing between anyone and everyone is just going to be, you know, incredible amounts of damage. So yes, bravo going into Gateway with a nice 3-0 here in this Grand Final Series. Great use of everything, I should say. You know, it seemed like Central Buck South had something going for themselves, but they were not able to take the cake all throughout. Hello, they're still in the Grand Finals, so that's still something to clap about. You know, it's still something to just give yourself a lot of props for. You know, they just weren't able to secure that one all throughout the end, and I think that things just went in the favor of Gateway a little more.
Yeah, I mean, with CB South, yeah, like you mentioned, you have to be proud. I mean, it was 3-0 semifinal, 3-0 second round, and, well, they didn't have a first round because they were the first seed out of league play. I mean, this is a team that has been dominant at least all season long. It took them to qualify. I would assume across both of those semesters to get to states here, they have been, I don't want to say undefeated, but close to it, I would have to imagine. And so to come in here to get, you know, your work handed to you by Gateway, I mean, it does diminish, you know, your moment right now. But once you take a breather, you take a day, you start playing the game again, Come on, guys, you're nuts. Don't forget about that. You guys are the GOATs, although you got bested today. That just enhances this rivalry even more. Come back again for the rematch. I cannot wait to see these two teams play. If they play again, it would be a miraculous time. And I think as well for Gateway to come back from that 2-0 down in the previous series, to come back and now win that 3-0, to come in here, win this 3-0. Gotta give everyone props here. I mean, Gateway are your Marvel rivals, Division 1 Grand Champions.
Congratulations, Gateway. And all in all, as you said earlier, Ari, cinema. This was cinema. This was incredible to watch, incredible to be a part of, incredible to look at and see. You know, I saw so many great plays from both teams, and I was just in awe. And I'm wishing, in my mind, I'm wishing to myself, dang, I wish people play like this in my ranked games, because goodness gracious, this is all incredible all throughout.
Well,
that is going to be, sorry, go ahead.
I was looking at our schedule, and it changed since we last looked at it, or at least since I last looked at it, because up next, we used to have a Valorant series and then a second one back to back. Now we're only going to have one, so I don't know which one was originally slated first, but coming up is going to be Valorant D3 Lower Moreland versus Bishop Carroll. That is our next matchup. Not exactly sure when that is taking place. We do have a little bit of a block in the schedule right here, but we know the games are rolling. It is when just the players are available and the PCs are as well, so stick with us. We are going to jump to a break. We will update you in the chat if things seem to go a little bit longer. We'll catch you on the flip side.